Okay, folks, so as I've clarified in a video that I've temporarily made private, I am not qualified to give sermons because I'm not only sinful, but I'm not really in the stance of being like morally exceptional in every domain of life to such an extent that I could reliably inspire others into spotless, perfect virtue, you know? I'm a flawed person trying to be as saintly as I can without exhausting myself. So I guess the lesson for today is to be an imperfect Tzaddik and not a flawless Christfigure. He who becomes too preoccupied with his sins loses sight of his missions. So something I've learned through hard experience, and something I've seen a lot of sensitive people have to confront, is that basically every minute you spend ruminating about your sins, flaws, and failures is a minute you do not spend doing something compassionate. So there's a quote I heard that I love, and this was actually told to me by a Christian friend. He said, "Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future." You never know what kinds of moral missteps prompted someone to try to flower into sainthood, just as you never know whether, someone who was caught up in intense lust and a bunch of unplanned pregnancies is one day going to channel his intense energies into being relentlessly compassionate toward the local homeless or something. We do not have perfect knowledge of exactly what other people are going to end up like, even if we may have probabilistic estimates regarding what may lie in someone's future on the basis of their formative and persistent conduct. So I would say that you don't want to aim for sinlessness. If you're romantic enough, you might actually think, well, I could try to be sinless for 6 months or 12 months at a time. I would say you shouldn't even try to do that unless you want to end up suffering. But, seek to be something of a Tzaddik, which I think, according to a definition from Maimonides or Rambam, if I'm not mistaken, is someone whose good deeds outweigh their bad deeds. Your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds, meaning you could be like maybe something of a saint, a moral saint, but, maybe after a long day spent laboring to help people on a Saturday, you come home and you are alone and you start to have certain kinds of thoughts about someone attractive you've seen, and one thing leads to another, and then, well, you are rather spent in a matter of 20 minutes or something, if you catch my drift. That sort of scenario is a lot better than one in which you're constantly succumbing to what is called scrupulosity, moral or religious scrupulosity, which is a kind of obsessive, dysfunctional, self-injurious, OCD-like fixation on the fact of your moral purity. I notice I'm naturally prone to moral scrupulosity, and so the way to deal with that is just like, I tell myself, pardon my language, but shut the hell up and do the dishes, or shut the hell up and buy a coworker an energy drink or something, So you train yourself to, and I'm bad at this, but I'm getting better at it, you train yourself to kind of shorten the interval of time that exists between one good act and the next. Even if you're naturally aloof, ruminative, spacey, dissociating, lost in thought. So, something I'd advise you to do, which I know is thoroughly non-Christian, or I don't know, maybe it's even anti-Christian or something, is to keep a private document like a Google Doc or like an email thread to yourself in which you record your best deeds, their dates, their times, exactly what you've done, and protect the privacy of the people you've helped, but you want to record that as well. I understand there's a school of thought that says you're supposed to not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. But something I've found is that sometimes if you embark on a quest to become morally exceptional within whatever scope of action output suits your nature, there are people who are morally unaccomplished or mediocre or hypocritical who will accuse you of ulterior motives or malicious intentions, or they'll insinuate that you're actually just secretly a psychopath or something. So people don't like to confront that someone in their midst is morally outshining them, which is part of why it makes sense to try to embody a lamed vavnik, or a sort of what Christians would call a fool for Christ, rather than someone who is like eerily spotlessly perfect. Once you know that even people who are well-meaning may act to sabotage you as you embody a certain extent of moral excellence, you will know how to market certain flaws, failures, and sins in a way that disarms people so that you can privately produce a massive record of good deeds that you don't disclose to anyone other than maybe a tiny handful of people who are also on the path to becoming moral saints on terms that suit their natures. So do not dare to seem too perfect to people who have no interest in becoming moral saints at all. And once again, to concisely capture this idea, it's to be an imperfect Tzaddik, not a flawless Christ figure. Thank you for watching and have a good day.